Cop tried to frame 19-year-old guy in fake DUI.
Zaharsky pulled over 22-year-old Austin Smith Skinner for his window tint and license plate light. Fortunately for Austin, he recorded the encounter.
All right, you have to raise your foot. Doesn't matter which foot, about 6 inches off the ground, you'll count. 1001, 1002, 1003.
After a series of tests, Austin was arrested for OVI.
Smith Skinner was also charged with fleeing, resisting arrest, and more.
When Austin appeared in court, his attorney called Officer Zaharsky to the stand, and by then, they had noticed a pattern in the officer's reports.
What we did today was review a whole bunch of his reports. They all have kind of the same buzzwords in them, saying that the driver's eyes are bloodshot red and watery. That appears in just about every one that he wrote.
With that in mind, Austin's attorney questioned Officer Zaharsky about his client's behavior during the stop that led him to think that he was operating a vehicle while under the influence. Zaharsky testified that Austin slurred his speech, writing the same thing in his report 27 times.
1028, 1029. You're gonna go roughly to 30, okay, Austin? Now, doesn't matter which foot you use your right or your left. Arms need to be down to your sides, both legs straight, and the foot that you raise, you need to be looking down at that toe. Make sure it's parallel to the ground to about 6 inches off the ground, okay?
And after this test, Zaharsky, am I free to go?
Well, I'm trying to determine what's going on here, so let's figure out what we're doing with this test. Do you understand what you're doing here?
After this test, am I
You
free to
understand
go?
what you're doing here, Austin?
I understand what I'm doing, but I've done 3 tests.
Okay.
Okay.
Understand the instructions?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at my toe. I'm
I want
gonna
to make
count
sure it's
to what?
parallel to the ground, okay? A little bit higher than that. Not the
What do you
toe.
want? A
You want your
level?
foot 6 inches, yeah, parallel to the ground. That's parallel. This is not parallel.
6, 7, 8, 9. Small steps backwards.
That is the cell phone video that Austin Smith Skinner took while doing sobriety tests. He had a bit of an attitude, but performed pretty well. However, Officer Steve Zaharsky didn't think so and cited him, making references to his slurring words 27 times in his report.
We just got into a fight. We wanted to go to our friend's house. I'm sorry my taillight's out. I will fix it. Literally, look. I backed into something earlier. Like, my taillight's busted. I have to get my front fog light fixed. If you want to see it, you can see it. Like, I will go and fix this stuff.
How do you fight against an officer's word against yours?
Manning had him demonstrate slurring. It was nothing like what was on the tape.
Having demonstrated what slurring was, I think that was key.
Officer Zaharsky also testified that Austin swayed during the tests, and that at one point he raised both of his hands. But again, only after the officer testified would Austin's attorney play the video of the field sobriety tests. And when he did, he directed the officer to say stop when Austin raised his hands.
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, 1012, 1013, 1014, 1015, 1016, 1017, 1018, 1019, 1020, 1021, 1022, 1023, 1024, 1025, 1026, 1027, 1028, 1029, 1030. Do you want me to go any further?
I do not, your friend.
In the judge's opinion after the trial, he wrote that Officer Zaharsky remained silent during the review of the tape. All of Austin's charges were dropped, with the judge adding that Austin performed the tests in what could only be described as in a flawless fashion.
Attorney Anthony Manning tried the OVI case, challenging Zaharsky's account of things.
It's the same routine.
Almost like it's a template that he fills out.
Exactly.
Smith Skinner was found not guilty.
The judge also added that Officer Zaharsky's report was replete with inaccuracies and falsehoods, attesting to the inaccurate statements while under oath, and that there was no question that the stop, continued detention, and subsequent arrest of Austin resulted in a substantial intrusion upon his constitutionally protected liberty interest in direct violation of his civil rights and the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. The department had conducted their own internal investigation prior to the trial, and at the time, of course, they found no wrongdoing. Police Chief Kenneth Bilonovich said that he believed the judge's ruling to be, quote, a personal attack. However, after the trial, he suspended Zahersky for 1 day after finding that the officer was, quote, not as familiar with the case as he was testifying to as he should have been, in part because of an unvetted cell phone video that the officer did not get to watch before he testified. The chief stated that he found no proof that the officer lied or purposefully filed a police report with inaccuracies or falsehoods.
Judge Timothy Gilligan in court saw the video after Zahersky's testimony, and he quickly noted the difference between what he saw in the video and what Officer Zahersky testified to under oath.
A police officer testifies in court that someone he charged with DUI was slurring his words during sobriety tests. Well, the video doesn't show it, and now the officer has a date in court.
Police officer Stephen Zahersky said that Austin Smith Skinner had watery eyes, was kind of unsteady, and also was slurring his words. After watching the tape, the judge cleared Smith Skinner, but he did something else. He also referred the case to county prosecutors to see if Zahersky had committed perjury. Judge Gilligan was none too happy, and in his judgment entry said what Zahersky did in his report and on the stand stains the badge of all courageous police officers dedicated to protect and serve.
Get it together.
He wanted a grand jury investigation and got it.
After the judge found Zahersky lied in a police report and under oath on the stand, the officer was charged with perjury, tampering with evidence, and falsification. Fast forward to just 1 day before Zahersky's trial was set to begin, his legal team filed a motion to dismiss the case, claiming that the prosecution failed to properly preserve the original cell phone used to record the video. And instead of seizing the phone and doing a forensic copy of its contents, the prosecutor had used a copy of the video that had already been entered into evidence in municipal court during Austin's OVI trial. The officer's attorney argued that without a forensic copy, that there wasn't a way to prove that the video wasn't edited or altered, and if the video couldn't be authenticated, that it should be thrown out.
This is the quickest way to go from AI beginner to AI fluent in 2026. Watch this. Let's be...
Attorneys with different views of whether or not a video showing an OVI test was altered. North Royalton police officer Steve Zahersky's trial began this afternoon. Now, his lawyers unsuccessfully tried to have that video of him arresting a suspect thrown out.
So the tape appeared to show a different behavior than what Zahersky wrote in a police report.
His attorneys wanted the video thrown out because it was a copy and they were unable to view it on the phone that took it. They feared it could have been doctored.
It would be important to see that entire video to know what preceded it and what the importance is. If it exists.
Judge Shirley Strickland Saffold listened to both sides and decided to watch the video herself.
4, 5, 6, 7.
It didn't take her long to decide.
Nothing indicates in the court by the showing the tape that the video had been altered or was not in its original form.
Before the trial, Officer Zahersky was offered a plea deal, but he refused the offer.
Officer Zahersky was offered a plea deal to take it down to a misdemeanor, but he'd have to give up his police certification. He didn't want to do that, so he's risking those 3 felonies now. As the trial begins, we expect opening statements tomorrow.
The next day, opening statements began, and almost immediately after, the officer was offered an even better plea deal. No felony charges, just 1 count of misdemeanor obstruction, and he wouldn't have to give up his police certification.
A North Royalton police officer entered a guilty plea this morning to an obstruction charge. The surprise plea came in the middle of his trial.
He said the man slurred his words repeatedly, but the videos we saw showed otherwise.
The officer faced 2 felonies and a misdemeanor charge. He had maintained his innocence, but today he agreed to plead guilty to 1 misdemeanor charge.
This morning we entered into some negotiations.
Before the first witness hit the stand, Special Prosecutor John Ricotta addressed the court. He and the defense had entered into a plea agreement, dropping the most serious charges, felony charges, including perjury against Steve Zahersky. He was left with a 2nd-degree misdemeanor obstruction. He jumped at the deal.
In exchange for that plea, other charges, including 2 felony counts, were dismissed.
Officer Zahersky took the offer, but the judge barely allowed it.
Okay, I promise to accept it. Okay.
A surprise plea deal in the trial of a North Royalton police officer appears to surprise the judge, who appeared, as you just saw, to have second thoughts.
How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And are you in fact guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Zahersky appeared humbled by having to say the words. In front of fellow officers, he apologized for letting the case go on as long as it did. He never admitted purposely falsifying his report.
I think I need to prepare myself better on my reports and testimony, and this wouldn't be a situation that happened today.
Judge Shirley Strickland Saffold's comments after sentencing left you scratching your head in a way as she addressed the parties to the plea.
And I feel bad about this plea. I do, Henry. I do, Mr. Ricotta, because I don't know what he did.
She is not alone. Zahersky's lawyer simply described the negotiations as being fluid.
With the felony charges dropped, Zahersky was sentenced to 1 year of probation, ordered to pay a $50 fine, and was recommended that if he returned to his job as a police officer, that he would have to serve on restricted duty for at least 1 year.
For the next year, North Royalton police officer Steve Zahersky will be back at work, but on restricted duty. Basically, that's